Bob Jones, a great boxing enthusiast, and he's seen many fights of Muhammad Ali. Bob, why have you been an enthusiast of Muhammad's right from when you really started?
Well, he's pretty unusual. When you start to think of the things that you can associate with Muhammad Ali first attracting world attention, which was really Rome and the Olympic medal, you've got to if you sort of think of political names, you go back to Kennedy, or indeed to Eisenhower being the President of the United States. It seems like another age. And so, you know, Muhammad Ali has spanned or dominated heavyweight championship boxing for 2 decades, nigh on 2 decades. And that's really...
Say I'm an old man, huh?
Well, I'll leave that to you to say, but it remains to be seen how much longer
But Bob, you have travelled throughout the world to Scandinavia, Manila, all over, watching the champ in action.
Yes, not to Scandinavia. I went up there to see Jimmy Ellis and Floyd Patterson, 2 of his opponents, of course, fight. I went to Zaire to see him fight, got there the day that Foreman got his eye cut, and it was postponed for a month, so... but I have seen him fight, yes, in many of these places, and of course we'll be able to get on to that. We've got a lot of films of these
perhaps
fights.
we can start right now and get on to that with the
Yes,
champ.
just one thing, Muhammad, just to kick off. You began your pro career just a few months after you came back from Rome, where you won the light heavyweight gold medal.
Yeah, I began my boxing career period at 12 years old. This is about 1954. But I began my professional career, which is what you're talking about now, about 2 or 3 months after the Olympics in Rome, Italy.
Yes.
I turned at 18 years old. I turned professional.
And you boxed as a heavyweight. How big were you then?
Heavyweight when I was small. I was about 185 pounds.
Oh, I see. Yes,
And the heavyweight division is anything over 175, so I was a small heavyweight.
Yeah. And of course, through 1960, 61 and so on, you ran through quite a number of opponents, and you were starting to get up to people like Alonzo Johnson and Alec Mittoff, Sonny Banks. They were good opponents.
At the time, yeah.
In your second year.
Alonzo Johnson was a top-ranked boxer.
Yeah.
Alec Mittoff was a highly-ranked professional. Sonny Banks wasn't really ranked, but he was up-comer like myself, and he hit real hard. He hit me so hard one night, the night I fought him. It was so hard, it jarred my kinfolks in Africa.
Actually, didn't Sonny Banks put you down?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Yep.
He's the one that jarred my kinfolks down.
Well, of course, we're coming up to a film of the next time that you went down, and we come to 1963. You only had 3 fights in 1963, and 2 of them were particularly good fighters. Doug Jones, he gave you a hard time, and Henry Cooper.
Henry Cooper hit me with another left hook. I predicted round 4.
Henry's hammer.
It was a funny thing I remember when I went to London. I said, when you come to the fight, don't block the aisle, don't block the door, for you all may go home after round 4. But anyway, he knocked me down in 3. And luckily the bell rang. I was jogging. He may have knocked me out if he had more time, I don't know. But the bell rang, and it did give me time to recuperate. And in the 4th round, I did knock him out, but I stopped him. He was on the cut eye.
Yeah. Well, we've got a very good film shot of that 4th round and the final 5th round.
This is a real surprise. You have a lot of these fights already?
Oh, yes. Well, you see, Henry Cooper, you must remember, was the British champion, and we got the orientation to Britain. We were particularly interested.
Did you round all this up yourself?
No, not me, the studio, but that wasn't televised here. They never had the satellites, but it was broadcast here, well, I think about 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And certainly we all listened to it. And
I must say, I thought I was coming just to do an interview. This is a real surprise. I didn't know you would have all these fights.
Yes, well, we haven't got a lot of the early ones, unfortunately. I certainly would have liked to have had 1 or 2 about 1966, particularly Cleveland Williams. I think that's a great film, that one, but we don't have it. Well, let's have a look at the...
Yes, we'd like to.
Let's have a look at the first Cooper fight in 1963.
You got to fight this boy Cooper. You've been playing around for a long time, sporting it, as you say.
Yes, I'm not training too hard for this bum. Henry Cooper's nothing to me. If this bum go over 5 rounds, I won't return to the United States for 30 days. That's final.
It's June 8, 1963, London, England. Here in round 4, the fight is quite even as Clay goes about his work almost casually. Cooper just keeps looking for that one clean shot.
What were you thinking here, Muhammad?
There it is.
Right now, I'm thinking nothing. When am I going to get up? Can I get up off of the floor?
Actually, you got up very quickly, really, didn't you?
That's what I meant. I told you the bell rang. They gave me some smelling salts or something. and it took me about 10, 15 seconds to recuperate. I realized I predicted round 4, and I went, that's the smelling sauce he just gave me.
And then there was the glove incident that
Right.
gave it a bit of extra time as well. What do you think of Cooper? I mean, he was a small heavyweight. Do you think he might have really been a great heavyweight if he'd been bigger?
I think he could have been a great heavyweight, but Henry Cooper cut too easy.
Yes.
He bruised, he cut easy. He was small, but he didn't have the rhythm or the finesse or the speed to really win the championship. Not only win it, like Ingemar Johansson won it, he only held it a year. Quite a few fighters won it, but they held it such a short time. If he had won, he was the type of fighter that somebody would have cut or would have beat because his arms are short. He was a small heavyweight. He couldn't have been a real heavyweight champion.
Yeah. Because you fought, how many? You fought 4 British heavyweight champions, Cooper, Brian London, Dunn, and Bugner. And you fought Bugner twice, and
You
Cooper
know, I
twice.
didn't remember that. How did you're not as dumb as you look. No, I was joking.
How would you rate them? Who was the best? Obviously Cooper.
I would say Cooper was the best. I would say second, I would rank Richard Dunn.
Over Bugner?
Yeah.
Would you really?
Yeah, man. Wait, hold.
Because Dunn was a southpaw, and we don't have a film. I wish we did have a bit of the film. We've probably got it in the library somewhere of Mildenberger.
Yeah.
He was, because shortly after...
Mildenberger, too. It's pretty rough to rank them.
Yeah.
I would say Mildenberger, Dunn, and Cooper were the roughest for me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, after the Cooper fight, you came back. I don't think you had another fight, did you, before the title fight?
You're the expert, I'm here.
No, I'm right, yeah. So the following year, in February '64, came the title fight. Just before we look at a film, in retrospect, going back 15 years, how would you rate Liston as a champion?
Sonny Liston was, before I fought him, considered one of the greatest fighters in history. George Foreman was considered one of the greatest fighters in history until I beat him. But after I beat him, they didn't look at him as being too great because they didn't want to believe that I was as good as I was. Now they recognize it. Sonny Liston had a punch that knocked out Floyd Patterson just about 1 round twice. George Foreman knocked out Joe Frazier and everybody he fought 1 round. They were 2 extraordinary hard punchers, brute animals looking fellas, serious. Liston was serious, Foreman was serious. One fist was as big as both of mine. Everybody was scared of him.
Were you scared of Liston?
Scared to death. I was afraid, but I would always never appear to show it.
Yeah.
Like in life, once we say to ourselves, I have no power, I have no force, so I can't do it, we're defeating ourselves. It's the attitude that makes people right and wrong. It's the attitude that makes people unhappy or happy, whatever, success or failure. It's always your attitude. My attitude was confidence. I cannot be beat. I am the greatest. I'm going to destroy the big ugly bear. I'm pretty. I cannot lose. And this will put me on the spot. All of this talking, all this boasting, I couldn't afford to lose because I'd have to come out and see my friends and say, I thought you were going to lose. No, I couldn't go home. They ran me out of school. So therefore, all the talking made me work hard. I had to fight. So, and then I made myself believe that I was the greatest. And the false Sonny Liston, I mean, I was afraid. One day we had a press conference, and I was going to attack Liston. I said, now, I'm going to jump at Liston. I'm going to jump on him, and I'm going to act like I want to fight now, but you all hold me. And when I jump at him, grab me. Don't forget now, grab me. So one day I said, you big, ugly bear, I'll get you in there. And I said, grab me, hold me. And anyway, this publicity built the fight. It made me the man I am today. All the talking was a confidence and everything. So I was afraid of all of these guys, but I talked so until I made myself believe that I wasn't. And after so much talk, they started to believe that I was as good as I was. And after 2 or 3 rounds of hard fighting, they got weak and gave up first, because when fear leaves you, you can put on your adversary. If you don't have it in you, like a dog, you run down the street. The worst thing to do is to run from a dog. If a bad dog is coming at you and you run, worst thing you can do, he'll get more confidence and eat you up. But you stop and you go, ah, and you run back at the dog and run like you're crazy, ah, like you're mad. And then as you run, you reach down like you're gonna get a rock. Ah, that dog will say, scare, he'll stop with his brakes on. Scare, the dog will turn around and, and run. Yeah, but you can't act afraid. I mean, you try it sometime. If a dog is coming at you, how bad he is, you run back to him and go down like you're picking up a rock and show no fear. The fear will come on the dog. Same with people. The same with boxers.
Well, you were certainly the underdog against Liston.
Oh, man, I was
8-1, yeah.
But I put the fear on him.
Yeah. Well, we've actually got, we've clipped the fight film to show the last 2 rounds.
No, you don't.
We've got a lot of fight films.
You got Liston fight?
Yes, we're going to show it now. Right. But just before we do, to explain, we're showing the last 2 rounds, and you recall that in the 5th round, that was the round you had something in your eyes. So we start with that. What was it again?
Well, a man came to me before I fought George Foreman. I won't say his name. He was with Liston. He don't have a job now. He was with Liston at the time. He came to me to show you the limit of his mentality. He shouldn't have told me this, but I didn't say that because it was all over and I won the fight. He says, champion, I got some stuff you can put on your gloves. And if you get in trouble with George Foreman, they can put on your gloves. And when you go out the next round and punch at him, the sweat and the heat from this liniment will blind him temporarily, and you can knock him out. So I wasn't going to do nothing illegal. And it came to me when we left. That's what happened. I fought Liston.
Yes.
I couldn't see. I had Liston in trouble. I was winning the fight. And around round 5, I couldn't see. Well, and this is the same man.
So someone put it on Liston's gloves?
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at that. Right. Anyway, the clip of the last 2 rounds.
Hits boxing with a loud bang.
Well, in fact, we've got a wee bit of preliminary material there, but it doesn't matter.
An 8-1 underdog in his title fight against champion Sonny Liston.
On camera now, can you hear us?
We're not on camera, but we can talk.
Champion Sonny Liston chases his young challenger all over the ring. Liston throws everything at the other.
Right now, I think this is around I can't see.
That's right.
Yeah. All I'm doing is holding my arm out and moving. See, he's throwing punches. I'm lucky, God bless me. He didn't land a good one. All I'm doing is leaning and holding him away. I'm trying to feel him. I'm not throwing no punches. I'm not really defending myself. I'm just like a radar, sticking my arm out, hoping to find out where he is so I can block his punches.
Well, he certainly had a great left hand, but he never got to you. Have we not got the final round there? Well, apparently not.
I think we may have the last 2 rounds coming up, Bob.
Right. Well,
you mean you got all these great films and don't have all of her? You go.
Right.
This is Cleveland. That's Sonny Liston. I think that's the second fight.
That's right.
In Lewiston, Maine, when I knocked him out 1 minute of the first round. This time I was dancing. My eyes were clear. Now that was a sharp right hand that nobody could see. People said it's a fix. It's a fix. I want my money back.
What were you saying there, Muhammad?
I said, get up, you big ugly bear. Get up and fight. I was hoping he wouldn't get up. Now I'm jumping up now. Now I'm winding up. And Walcott is going over to see the referee. He didn't mean for me to keep going, but I attacked Liston while Walcott walked away.
Yes, he went out the net
I wasn't supposed to be doing this, but I did. And Walcott comes back and stops the fight. One man said he wanted his money back. I came from Los Angeles to Lewiston, Maine. I didn't see no punch. I paid $150 for ringside seat. I saw no punch. It was a fix. I said, how could you see the punch sitting on the side when Liston was in front of it? He couldn't see it.
Muhammad, we're just going to go back and have a look at this right now again.
Watch that right hand. It's his right hand over his left jab. Boom, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that was slow motion and still was fast. Even your slow motion cameras can't detect the speed. That was so fast, slow motion cameras couldn't detect it.
Still, there was a lot of unpleasantness over that fight. And what do you think about somebody like Jersey Joe Walcott being a referee? You've had one other fight, of course, Chuck Wetner, where there was troubles over the referee. How important is a referee?
Chuck Wetner, I don't think, yeah, we had referee trouble. That was the fight. And the referee is really important because if he says, for example, start counting too late, and the man gets up at the count of 8, but it should be 15 if he kept counting, but he started too late. That can be trouble.
Well, Nat Fleischer climbed into the ring and interrupted him there, didn't he?
Yes, yes. One trouble I had with a referee, we were in court. I called him a bad, dirty referee. He didn't win the case, but I was getting hit low by Chuck Wetner and rabbit punches on the neck. He wouldn't call him for some reason. He let him get away with it. And this can be bad also when the referee let illegal punches be thrown because you could lose the fight because of these punches. And still, like, for example, The referee said Chuck Weapon knocked me down. But I said he stepped on my toe and I fell.
Yes.
They thought it was a joke. They showed the film. Weapon, I threw a jab, he threw a punch, and he was just an old trick in boxing. When you leaning back, if you're a dancing master like myself, always moving, if a man can get his foot on your toe and catch you leaning back and you can't go no farther than the force of the foot is holding you, you fall. Well, the film showed he did have his foot on my toe, but he called that a knockdown. And that was registered in my book, record book, as a knockdown. I don't know if they took it off the book yet or not, but that's how the referee can hurt you. They called it a knockdown, but it wasn't a knockdown.
That's the film, of course, that's the fight that spawned the film Rocky. From that, what's his name? That he was sitting there watching that. Yes, he went into a theatre and watched it.
They made a movie.
He got the idea from that film. Well, of course, then came a series of fights that against big names and you started to travel a bit. Patterson was next up. I was going to ask you, what do you think of Patterson? How do you rate Patterson? He was a small heavyweight.
Patterson's a small fighter, and he was, I would say, the fastest heavyweight other than myself. They ranked me as the fastest in boxing, and I would say he'd be just as fast, probably, if not a little faster with his hands, but not with his feet.
Well, then you went to Canada, you had Chevalo, and then back to England again with Henry Cooper. And you predicted the round again there, the 6th round. And I think we've got another film of that. I hope we've got another film of that, if my memory's not playing tricks.
Just a fast fight, you see. Throwing a lot of fast punches. Cooper's really after me this time because he was angry at me getting him the first time. And I was real trim that night. Weight was down, and I was determined not to be got. So I'm lucky I won that fight also.
Yes, he was a bit of a mess. This film doesn't actually show just how bad he was a mess. There with the badly cut eye.
So he's always having bad luck. He's a good fighter. He may have done a lot better in boxing if it wasn't for that cut eye.
Well, then you came back to England and you fought Brian London, the other Englishman.
He was a good fighter. He hit pretty hard, but he was awkward. I think I got him in the third round, with a beverage of machine gun-like punches. Do you have that fight?
We don't have a film of it. I do remember after it, he said he'd never been hit so hard, but of course the English people were very disappointed with his performance. He was riding a high at the time and they expected him to do better. Well, then you fought Mildenberger, Southpaw, and he went 12 rounds.
He was the distance. I couldn't really knock him out. I tried. He was awkward and been a left-handed fighter, where most fighters hold the guard this way. He's holding it that way, and I wasn't used to this type of fighting.
Yes.
I beat him on points, but I almost knocked him out at one time. I knocked him down, but it wasn't a knockout. But I won it on a unanimous, easy decision.
No, I think you did stop him, actually, in the 12th, Mildenberger, yeah. Actually, you've only fought 2 Southpaws, I think, because Richard Dunn would be the only other one that I can think of.
Right.
Yeah. And he gave you some heat for a wee while, didn't he? And then Cleveland Williams, the one I wish we had the film of because it's such a marvellous film. Ernie Terrell. You didn't like Terrell, did you?
Well, at the time joining the Islamic Muslim faith, after the name Muhammad Ali was given to me by my spiritual imam, religious leader, Elijah Muhammad, he didn't want to call me my name. He says, "You're Clay, you're going to stay Clay." And I says, "I'm going to whip you so bad, I'm going to make you call me my name." And they built the fight on that little grudge thing. And I wasn't really angry. I didn't really care what name he called me, but this was a good chance to promote my new image. I said, "I'm gonna beat you, and for everybody that don't respect my name, I'm gonna whoop them like I whoop you. And I want all of y'all to watch television, to watch the punishment this man get for not calling me my name." And I kept, when I was fighting him, I kept saying, "What's my name? What's my name? Did not tell you, don't call me Cassius Clay." And anyway, about round 13, I give round 10, I said, "What's my name?" He wouldn't say. He said, "Cassius Clay." I kept fine. Round 11, I said, "What's my name?" He said, "Cassius Clay." Round 12, I hit him real hard. "What's my name?" He said, "Cassius Clay." Round 13, I said, "What's my name?" He said, "Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali."
Did you find it hard to get universal recognition when you changed your name to Muhammad Ali?
No.
I mean, what about the people from your hometown and your family?
Well, my family, they all now call me Muhammad Ali. But the closest person to my mother, to her, I'm still her baby. Gigi.
Is that what she calls you?
Your nickname. Well, the first words I said when I was a baby was Gigi. And later, that's all they could understand. They said, I told them I was trying to say golden gloves.
And then came the last fight before the layoff. We don't have a film of that. It's with Zora Foley, who, of course, had been a very good heavyweight, but he was probably at the end. Was that his last fight? It probably was, wasn't it?
I think so. He died.
Yes,
died of some accident. He was a good fighter. He called me the name. The press tried to get him to call me Clay to start some type of little trouble. He says, the man is Muhammad Ali. That's his name. That's what I respect him at. And I wasn't angry at him, but...
He was a good fighter, though, wasn't he?
Scientific boxer.
Yes, yeah.
Skillful, good boxer.
Yeah, if he'd had a crack earlier, maybe,
right.
with Patterson in particular.
Age caught up with him.
So, Muhammad, you were going then into a layoff. Did you really think that it could be the end completely, or did you harbour a thought that you would get back in?
Being a spiritual man and believing in a divine supreme being, knowing there is a God in the universe, regardless of what we might call it or what he looks like, there is some power. And my stand was for that. I wasn't going to Vietnam to kill innocent people and to take part in unjust war. Later, I got a lot of credit and praise for my stand because I proved to be right. But I wasn't doing it. I said, if I'm going to give up my title, if I have to give up my money and my livelihood and my future because I'm standing for God and what's right, then I'm going to depend on God to get me my title back or to get me money or to get me position. I don't think God would let a man suffer. If he's God, he's right, and he's the supreme being, will let me suffer because I'm standing up for his cause and not want to kill his creatures, other humans. So I just left it up to God, and I believed one day that I would be back. If it wasn't that, it'd be something better. But I did prove to be right. I did come back and came back big and great.
So when you did, how hard was it to motivate yourself? How hard was it to get back in? Because when you said before you were looking thin and terrific, and I mean, was it tough?
I didn't have to really get back in because I stayed in secretly. I jogged every other day. I slipped to the gymnasium. I boxed with my friends. I kept my mind on boxing. I believed one day I would come back. It would have been almost impossible staying out 3.5 years doing nothing and come back like I did. I stayed in training. I stayed in training.
Don't you think it might, thinking back on it, the 3.5-year layoff might have been a main factor that you lasted so long? You know, probably a good thing?
Well, I think it's natural if you take a car that's like in good shape and keep it parked in the garage, you save wear and tear on it.
Yes.
So I think wear and tear was saved on my body, but not being active. I think that I could have kept going. I probably would have been retired by now, a year or two early. I probably would have been a little tighter than usual. But I think the layoff gave me some rest.
Well, of course, in late 1970, you had your comeback fight with Quarry, which was faded out very quickly. You got cut, I think, in the 3rd round. And then early the same year, yes, in December, that tremendous battle with Oscar Bonavena. I wish we had film of that here, too, but that was a tremendously hard fight. Now, what we do have film of and what we're going to look at is the next one when you had a crack at Frazier's title, and certainly one of the great heavyweight fights of all time.
That crushing left hook that ripped through in the 15th round of their first fight, which Frazier won. Ali also clearly recalls their second meeting, when Frazier had chased Ali all over the ring in that 1974 classic meeting. But Ali had the strength, the speed, and the stamina to capture a very close decision over the furious punching Joe Frazier.
Did Frazier punch hard, Muhammad?
Yes. He was sort of easy to hit, but he was a hard puncher, and he just relentless. He just kept coming and could take a lot of punishment.
That confrontation in 1971, one of the great fights ever.
Was that?
Yes, I must say I rate the first one.
Was that the one I lost?
Yes, the one you
I
lost.
I think that greater than that was the Manila.
We've got some film of that, too, that we're coming up
I told him it will be a thriller, a chiller, and a killer when I get the gorilla in Manila.
There we are, there's the program of the fight. In Manila. Well, of course, then you started the long road back again. Jimmy Ellis, I think, was next up. And you stopped Jimmy Ellis in 71, mid-71. Where was that? In Houston, in the 12th round?
That was Houston, Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jimmy was a good fighter, though, wasn't he?
Jimmy was a scientific boxer. We grew up together. He just never had the finishing ability.
Yeah.
What I mean is like a racehorse. No racehorse is really that much greater than the other. It's always the one who can manage to win if it's just by nose. Same with track. Some people win, but just by nose, they still won. I barely beat Norton the second fight. I barely beat Norton the third fight. I barely beat Frazier the second fight. I barely got by Frazier third fight. Leon Spinks didn't beat him but that much the second fight. I've always had the championship quality to finish and come in when the pressure's on and the money's in the bank, the bet's on the table, and the lights are bright and the people are yelling. The champion's always one who can come through. That's something Ellis never had. He just never could. He got to that spot many times, but just couldn't come through and finish.
How did you feel? I mean, he was a friend of yours. How does that affect it in the ring?
Well, he was a friend, but not the type friend.
Yes, yeah.
I knew him, but once it came down to our title, making a living, then it was all business. We were enemies until the fight was over.
Whose corner did Angelo Dundee go in with that one?
Angelo Dundee, I think, was in Ellis's corner.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember this.
But Angelo Dundee has been an important figure in your life, Muhammad. How important?
He was more of a, I would say, a habit. I started out with him. He gave me good advice, and I didn't feel right without him. Not that I had to have him. Not that he would say, throw your jab or duck over here, or I've won fights because of his advice. But he was a good man in picking people to fight. He was the best expert at, why should you fight this guy? He never would say, you have to go run. Why are you in training? Now, one day in my fight career, has Angelo said, train today, or don't train today, or train another round, run another mile, or you gotta be here, or do this. And we're totally free. So he let me be free, make my decisions, do what I want, so therefore, me and him could get along, but he wasn't no trouble. He was a habit, somebody had to have.
But did he help you during the fights themselves, with tactics?
Oh, man, during the Liston fight, when my eyes were burning, I was going to quit. He pushed me out and made me go. And that was worth his whole life being
Did he talk a lot to you when you were in the corner?
Yes, he would tell me the guys, he's open for left hand, or your guard's too low, or quit dancing so much you're tiring yourself out. When you get, when you get in the clinches, tie him up and hold him, things like that.
And do you think Angelo Dundee was perhaps better than other fighters have had in the corner?
Who?
Angelo Dundee would be better than other fighters have had in their corner.
Oh, yes, best. Because, see, mainly you need a man when you're really in trouble. And one of the main things that can happen is to be unconscious, knocked out, or eye cut. Angelo had a way of stitching your eye with some type, something he could put on your eye and close the cut. He's a great cut man, they call it. If you're knocked out, he knew how much spelling sauce to give you, how to slap you in your face, what to tell you. In real crisis, he was good, and that's why he was so great.
So I get the impression in the last few years that, as I noted here, it's more a matter of sentiment and tradition. Your corner team, you had Pacheco, of course, up until Spinks, the two Spinks fights, and Bundini, Brown, and Youngblood. These four people that were always in your corner, but that you were making your own plans and this sort of thing.
Yeah, they were there to help me. It's like a great doctor working on a brain operation, a heart operation. He's gonna help us give him tools, but he makes the main decisions, but he couldn't do it without his helpers.
Yes.
I made the main decisions, but I couldn't do it without my helpers. And Angelo, Youngblood, Dr. Pacheco was on my helpers. But I made the final decisions, and I did what I wanted to do, but I always listened to their advice.
I remember that very bad round you had in Manila. I think it was about the 6th. And you came back to your corner, and they all piled into the ring, and there was a lot of shouting going on. I could hear you shouting. And when they came out of the corner, I asked Ferdy, I said, what was Ali saying? And he said he was yelling at us all to shut up because he wanted to think. So they're all giving you advice, but you're looking for your own.
One day, one of them says, throw your right, throw your right. I said, you come throw your right. Now, it's not as easy as it looks. So you're watching it, it looks easy. But people tell athletes, whether it's a ball player, soccer player, football, baseball, what to do. Because you imagine, you see the weakness, you see the hole, the opening, and you think you would, if you were there, you would do it. It's not that easy. So I said, you do it.
Right.
Well, because we're coming up to see a film shortly of the great one in Zaire. That was a tremendous thing, that. And but really, you were doing the advice, you were doing the opposite of what they were telling you there, weren't you? They told you to run, and you didn't, and it worked.
They told me to move and not run, but dance and stay away. Really, it's a sneaky way for say run. But dance, 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 retreat, dance. They want to say run, but we don't want to be a coward, so I ran. But something told me to stay on the ropes and let him burn himself out, because I realized Foreman was punching so hard and getting in such a rage until I says, if this man continue, and I can take a gamble and block it, he'll tire himself out. I took a big risk. I wrote something once, some of my philosophy. It says, he who is not courageous enough to take a risk will accomplish nothing in life. The astronauts took a risk. Columbus took a risk. The Wright brothers took a risk. I took many risks in the Vietnam War, my religion, name change. I took a lot of risks, but it made me who I am. So I took a risk that night. And he did tire himself out after 8 rounds. Then I moved in, but they didn't want me to stand there, but I could see that he wasn't hurting me, and I could see that I could block most of them, and I knew that he would soon get tired. So they didn't see what I was doing, but I saw it. So I ignored what they said.
Yes, well, because you're a heavy underdog for that fight, because not too much, what, 18 months earlier you'd lost to Norton, but you'd had quite a series of bouts all around the world. You went all around the world fighting all sorts of fighters. But anyway, let's take a look at the Foreman fight, shall we? That's certainly...
This was early in the morning, wasn't it?
Yes, about 4 o'clock that time.
Did you find that difficult getting up at that time of the morning?
No, I get up at 4 o'clock to jog anyway. I was accustomed to that time. And I was extra strong because I just had a good night's sleep. And usually you're tired on days of fights because you fight at 10, 11 at night. I was rested.
How do you rate Foreman?
Foreman was one of the greatest punchers of all times. Wasn't scientific enough and didn't have the brain to be a great fighter, because as you see, I'm psyching him. If he was smart, he would have backed up and says, no, come out to the center of the ring. I'm just standing there and punching him.
What was going on here, Muhammad?
I'm just standing, I'm standing there. I'm deliberately standing in the corner because I realized he's looking for a hard knock. He's a knockout puncher. He's looking for a knockout. So he hit me that time. But see, now he's just throwing. All this is tiresome. It may look easy watching the screen, but all this is tiresome. All this punching, me standing there and make him throw those punches. And if you see he's getting tired, he's going to soon start falling on the ropes. He's just completely tired.
Were they hurting you at that stage?
A couple of them hurt. They shook me, but it wasn't enough to really hurt me. I've been boxing 25 years, so I'm used to being hit and hurt. So it's a certain type hurt. Now I'm getting him, see.
He should have thrown his jab more, though, shouldn't he?
He's getting more tired.
So the gamble you said you took, really, you had to take the punishment as well.
I took a few, but not that much punishment.
But if he...
It wasn't that much. It looked like it to you, like an airplane pilot. A flight might be rough and frightening and turbulence, but he knows what it can take, so the pilot is not as straight as you are. So this don't look as rough to me as it do to you.
So all the time now you were working out when you could move into him?
I'm knowing he's tiring himself out. I see it. Look at him. He's just pawing. He's pawing. He's barely pawing. Says he throws his punches and he misses his body. His arm, there's the power carries him around. He's getting real tired now. He's getting real tired. I'm just standing there blocking, covering him up. See, I'm covering myself up, letting him punch. There he goes. He's falling. He's really tired. He's almost ready. Look at him. He's almost ready. And if he has some brains, he'll move. Because I've done men like he's done me. I saw it wasn't hurting my opponents, so I got a new tactic. But he's still there. Look at him.
Were you talking to him during this?
Yeah, I'm saying, come on, sucker. You don't have a chance. I'm the real champ. You're nothing but a sissy. You are a sissy. You are a sissy. Look at those pretty girls in ringside watching me beat your head. I'm going to take his title. Think about those pretty cars. I got him going. There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. It's all over.
Did you think he'd get up?
I said, you better. I was hoping you didn't. You talking about a good feeling. For that man to say it's all over.
That must have been a,
oh,
that must have been a great moment.
The greatest moment in the world.
Yeah. That must have been even greater, perhaps, than winning it the first time against Liston.
And even, believe it or not, even the Sphinx fight.
Yes, I do.
Greater moment than that.
Because, once again, you were a big underdog worldwide.
This is in the heart of Africa.
Yeah.
First time in history, a fight was in Africa. Now I'm laying on the floor. I fell on the floor now because there's such a pandemonium, wild, exciting crowd in the ring. I always fall on the floor until they get out and clear up, because they grab you and hold you and pull on you, so until that's harder than the fight.
There's one of those fights you sat down, didn't you, to avoid this problem?
Yeah, the Sphinx fight I laid down, and quite a few fights I can't think of now. Quite a few fights I've laid down before wrestling with those people.
Muhammad, George Foreman, in effect, has gone into oblivion after that fight. Why?
George Foreman was built to be a Superman. He was built to be a hard puncher. And now you see the knockdown again. He was built to be a hard puncher. And what you see now embarrassed him so. He knocked out Joe Frazier and knocked out Ken Norton, and he was such a great giant. And living with this image, and all of a sudden he'd been so humiliated, then he tried to come back. And Jimmy Young knocked him down again and beat him. And then he said he saw Jesus that night, and he's going to be a preacher. He forgot all about that now. He was just so embarrassed he wanted to pretend that God wanted him to lose.
But isn't he supposed to be making another comeback?
I don't know. Joe Frazier, he's one who was a great fighter once. It's a big thing, it's a bad thing to be so. If, say, I didn't beat Sphinx, and he beat me, I've been so humiliated. Talking about I am the greatest and I'm the prettiest, and finally I got beaten. Now I'm looking at a new champion walking around, and all my life, every day I wake up, I gotta say I lost. I should have got out while I was on top. It's a bad feeling for a ball game, or maybe a girl have someone, a girl that takes your boyfriend. Maybe you have a mother, brother that says you wouldn't be nothing in life. It's always some people that you want to get in life. Ken Norton beat me, I had to get him back. Joe Frazier beat me, his name haunted me. Sphinx beat me, I just had to get him back. After I get my title, watch him talk and get interviews and do press conferences, ride big cars, dress up and talk, I had to watch it. Joe Frazier would go on television and says, I don't have to call him that name. I call him Clay because I can get away with it. I have to watch that.
So you don't think Foreman had the quality you have to be able to take the humiliation and come back into it?
Well, he don't seem to. He's not doing it. He don't have the ability I have. I know that. And then, see, you have to have a purpose. My purpose was to go out the first black man as champion and to be the first in many things. So I had a goal to accomplish, and I wasn't going to quit until I got it back. I'm through boxing now. You'll never see me in the ring again, but I'm not retired as of yet. I'm planning a retirement party, which will come on television. Some network is going to promote it on television. They're going to have something called The Last 15 Rounds, or they show 15 rounds like you were showing here of my best fights. I narrate it, then have a party, and a few minutes after I do, boys eliminate each other for my title. They have fights on television.
But you're still prepared to do exhibitions like you're going to next Sunday night at Western Springs in Auckland?
I'll probably be exhibition for another 10 years. People still like to see you, because people who are now, say, 15 years old have heard all about me. By the time they're 20 years old, they'll want to say, well, I wish I could have saw him fight. Well, when you go to a place, there's a whole new generation of people who grew up with you. So everybody watching this show now, let's say 25 years old, they've been hearing about Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay since they were 8 or 9. But there's a whole new crop of people that heard about me, never saw me. So these people I like to entertain with exhibitions, plus there's good money in them.
So next Sunday night, what can we expect, and what can the people of New Zealand expect from you?
You can expect to see the greatest fighter of all times, the most talked about fighter of all times, the most controversial and the fastest and the prettiest dancing master, the greatest fist fighter in the history of the whole world will be in your country, boxing 2 rounds with former world heavyweight champion James Ellis and European heavyweight champion Joe Buckner. You will see me live in living color for a nice price. That's what they can see in your country, probably will never come here again and probably would have never fought a fight here because it's been too expensive. But you will see me in action for 4 rounds.
You're not worried about Bugner or Ellis getting one through that you may not be able to...
If they dreamed it, they better wake up and apologize. It's having fun.
Ron Lyle, that you were behind on points, I think, against Lyle when you stopped him in the 11th. And then off to Malaysia, who's the program of that fight, to fight Joe Bugner. We've got a film, of course.
You've been spying on me, fella.
We've got
Perhaps we can have a look at that right
film
now.
of that as well. Seeing as Bugner's in the country, we thought it would be nice to show that.
That the fighters will lose somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds apiece.
That was a hot morning.
Is over. And of course, the longer it goes,
I thought you bluffed him out of that one.
It was real hot there in Malaysia, and a big crowd.
in the pink of condition.
And me and
Waiting
Bugner,
for the
this is the
champion,
fella
Muhammad Ali, to
you
put
all
in
will
an
see me
appearance.
fight in exhibition here. And he still has revenge for me. He's still angry because I beat him twice. And I'm sure he's going to try to knock me down and build his reputation. So I want you all to come out to see this exhibition because I might have to knock this fella out because he talks too much. He's cocky.
You'd beaten him in Las
I don't like
Vegas on
boxers who
points.
talk too much. See him, look at him. Look at him clowning.
What did you think of him, though, Muhammad? You know, he was a big, strong fella.
Nice fella. Like a little boy, real playful, just like I am. Real friendly, a good boxer. Never had hitting power, never had skills to be a great fighter, but he's a good contender, good opponent, good challenger, but not a real fighting champion.
So some of you
But I
great...
think that you never can tell. He just didn't get the breaks that I got. And Joe Bugner probably could have been a good heavyweight champion.
Well, he's still only 28.
28, you're right.
Yeah, you could
He's
see that.
still young enough to get in shape and come back. Because I believe that he gave me a tough fight. I just had a little more stamina, a little more wind, but I wasn't that much better than Joe Bugner. And he was a European champion and probably could have been a heavyweight champion, but he just didn't hit hard enough.
He lacked aggression, too, although there's some aggressive shots in this film.
Was he hard to hit, Muhammad?
Yes, because he was tall. He stands straight like himself. He wouldn't crouch and come in.
But he was very defensive throughout most of the
You
early
see
rounds,
how I'm
wasn't he?
dancing and moving. That's the only thing that will save me with a man like Bugner. But standing toe-to-toe, punch and punch for punch, he might get the best of me because he was tall, and young, and fast.
So what are you talking to Bugner there? Do you talk to most of your adversaries?
People like Joe Frazier, Sonny Liston,
George
probably
Foreman.
Ken Norton, George Foreman, certain ones that it would affect. He's crazy like I am, Joe Bugner. We both are crazy. So he's not afraid of nothing.
And could he hit hard?
Yes, if he would catch it right. Basically, he wasn't a hard puncher, but if he would catch it sometimes in a certain position, meeting your head on or something, he could punch hard. As you see, he's sticking right with me. He's not an easy fighter to beat. He's a good fighter, but just didn't get the proper breaks.
Well, at 28, he's certainly not too old if he was of a mind to come back again. Seeing as he was here, we particularly wanted to show that as he's going to boxing next week.
During the 3-minute rounds, Muhammad, did you ever have an idea of the time, or did you just fight on instinct for time related to the 3 minutes?
I had a little idea. I always had my men to holler 10. That means 10 seconds. At ringside, they would just holler. He just did the Bugner shuffle, they call it.
That's a remark on it.
Now he's a little tired. I could notice that. And
Did you lose weight during the fight?
yeah, I think I
It was
did.
certainly
Another thing, talking about was the conscious of time, especially when fights were close and I was like around behind or just around ahead, I would like to take the last 10 seconds or 15 seconds to impress the judges that I won that round by opening up with a windstorm of punches and win the last of the round, usually win the round.
15 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world in Merdeka Stadium in Kuala Lumpur.
So you thought it was important to be able to go hard for the last 10 seconds or so?
As they say, the star closed the show. And if you could come in at the last, even if you lost most of the round, if you get to the last 10 seconds, get the man in good position, there's a chance you might convince a judge or two that that's your round.
And was there any other wily tricks you might have had in influencing judges?
Well, nothing like paying them off for such a show.
I thought maybe perhaps giving one of them a wink as you went back to your corner. Muhammad, who would be the greatest influence in your life as a person?
Elijah Muhammad, the man who named you Muhammad Ali, and taught who followed him as far as being the imam or the minister or the leader of the Islamic religion. And that's his son, Wallace D. Muhammad. So it's my spiritual teachings which has made me, for an example, fighting Malaysia, it's a Muslim country. Philippines, a Muslim country. Zaire, African country. And all the, I'm ranked now today as the most recognized face on earth. That's because of mainly the name Muhammad, because Muhammad is the most common name on the planet. If there are more people on the earth, out of 4 billion people, there are more people who are Muslims are with the name Muhammad than any other person. So, therefore, the greatest influence was Elijah Muhammad, the leader who gave me this power.
What about your mother or father?
They were natural influences. It's not my fault. I didn't ask to be brought in the world. So naturally, your mother and father are the people who got to take the credit for bringing you here. And you can say that's a great influence. But my mother and father are people that I've helped a lot spiritually, financially, have retired, and they've helped me a lot by raising me when nobody knew me. And they were a great influence on the younger part of my life. But we can't take that like birds. Birds, the greatest influence that a bird would have is his mother and father, because he waits with his mouth open for worms and grain. The mother and father brings the worms, but once the baby has known the branches on the tree, once the bird has flown out into the forest under the protection of his mother, he never again see nor remember that mother which is so loyal to him. So there are moments of emotions, impulses of love, but they all fade away. Then there comes a time when a person's got to go for self. Then he's got to find his wife, make his own decisions. Mother's there, not petting no more. So the greatest influence after mother and father was my leader, Elijah Muhammad, but they would naturally come first.
The spiritual change in your life, did that come to you suddenly or abruptly, or was it a gradual change?
Gradual. I think every man gradually changes. You just don't wake up and join a church or religion. I always wondered when I was a kid, why is it that black people catch so much hell? I was a little boy, I didn't know about race or color. Why is it I couldn't eat in this restaurant? Why is it that I won the Olympic gold medal and my movie's playing here tonight? I'm going to see the movie, The Greatest. You'll see in my movie how I was put out of a white restaurant because I was black and I was an Olympic champ. I threw my medal in the Ohio River. I always wonder, why was Jesus Christ a white man with blue eyes and blonde hair? Why was the Lord's Supper all white people? No Chinese, no Mexicans, no Puerto Ricans. Why all white people in the Lord's Supper? Why all the angels in heaven, white angels? I always wondered. So it wasn't a change to Islam. I always wonder, why was Mary white? Why was Miss Universe white? Why was Miss World white? Why was Miss America white? Why is Tarzan, the king of the jungle in Africa, he's white? Why is the angel food cake white and the devil food cake chocolate? Why is, have you heard of white tornado flow wax?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Tornadoes are black, but they make a white tornado flow back. They got a commercial. So was that a white tornado? That was a white tornado. And the good cowboys rode the white horses. I always wonder, something wrong. And why was black cat the bad luck? Why, if I threaten you, I'm going to blackmail you? Why, when you get put out of a fraternity group, you get blackballed? Why was black always bad? Why was angel food cake white and devil food cake chocolate? Is that the same thing here? Angel food white, devil food chocolate? I always wonder. So when I went to Muslim meeting, I heard this wasn't so. That's why I converted these. Because I always knew something wasn't right.
So once you did convert easily, did the spiritual backing help you with something like the Thriller in Manila?
Yeah, now, man, you figured it all out, aren't you?
Well, we've got now the film of the Thriller in Manila, and perhaps we'd like to have a look at that.
You figured it all out. That's the only thing that pulled me through in many of my fights. I wanted to quit for Frazier, but I had to keep fighting for all of my followers and people who prayed for me.
This was about 2 months after the Wagner fight, wasn't it?
How much?
About 2 months, 2, 3 months. Yeah.
You're an expert. I don't know. You know more about me and myself. I'm about to watch you.
This fight really was a thriller, though, Muhammad, wasn't it?
Yeah,
How do
it
you
was a
rate it?
thriller because we both took a lot of punches. We fought from beginning to end. And he just quit before I did because he was so painful. He was so unconscious, they thought he was got killed. His head was swollen, his eyes were closed.
That was indoors too, with 30,000 people in an indoor stadium, very hot again.
Yeah.
Which must be a factor. You can't perform
Yeah, it
quite
was
so
so
well.
hot. Lost a lot of weight. I lost 7 pounds that 45 minutes. You think that's, just think about 45 minutes losing 7 pounds.
It's interesting that you had fights, say, in Zaire and Malaysia, here in Manila, and now you've gone back to the United States, to New Orleans, your last fight.
Yeah. Well, they paid. See, the people in America have more money than anybody else in the world. And they charge, do you know some seats sold for $1,000 in New Orleans? Skyflips are selling their 200 tickets for $1,000. This
Fraser's face, you were really working
there's
on
a lot of punches. I just hit him 4 or 5
Were you
straight
hurting him?
punches. Yeah, well, I was hurting him. Come here, let me hit you like it. Let me show you. Come here.
Still, it was a surprise to you when it ended at the end of the 14th,
Oh,
wasn't it?
yeah. I'm hitting him with punches. I'm surprised now how easy I'm hitting him. Look at that. Left, right. Just continue hitting him. God has really blessed me for my stand on the wall, the truth that I preach, my religious beliefs. The book says, seek ye first kingdom of God, then all things come to you. I've had nothing but victory and success. Those punches are continuing, left jabs and right crosses, and Fraser just runs right into him. And he's easy to hit. If you watch him, he's easy to hit. He's right in front of you, and watch him, right? There he is. All you gotta do is punch him. Straight target, straight at him.
Muhammad, that would be your toughest fight, though, wouldn't it? Even though you won
I
it.
think it was my toughest. Is that all? Was it
I
the
think
end?
that's the 14th round, yeah. I think this is... Let's have a look.
That was the biggest round of the fight for anybody. Fraser.
Say so.
Yes, look at that.
His
Look
mouth's
at that.
bleeding, his eyes are
He could
falling.
really take
Look at
punishment.
I'm so lucky that I'm unscratched, I'm unmarked, and I'm thankful to Allah. In the Islamic religion, we refer to God, the proper name of God is Allah. I'm thankful to Allah that I'm retired now. I could have had a brain concussion.
What were you thinking there?
I was just saying, I'm so glad he quit because he quit 10 seconds before I wanted to.
You looked exhausted. Now perhaps we can have a look back at the last 30 or 40 seconds of the 14th round there, because it just seemed that Fraser was able to take unbelievable punishment.
He really took him. He took him because he just envied me so, that I was champion, and that I talked about him so, called him ugly, and he just wanted, he was fighting for his life. He just hated me. And with that hatred, makes you stand when you want to fall. Those punches are continually hitting flat. If you watch them, they'll be flush on the face and they'll be hard, but he just keeps coming. I think that's all.
Well, of course, the next film that we wanted you to comment on was the very close fight in New York, wasn't it, with Norton? He was in New York in September, I think, '76. And we've got a film of that, of not all of the fight, of course. We've got 1 minute of it. If we could have a look at that one.
And this is Yankee Stadium. That was the last Norton fight, if that's Yankee Stadium.
Yes. Why
He
did he
was
get in so
awkward.
much trouble, though? I mean, he was
Because
unorthodox.
he was awkward. It's the way he would stand.
Threw that right hand in a very incorrect way, really, doesn't he? Sort of comes looping over and...
The way he holds his guard, if you watch him, how he holds his guard up. He's hard to hit. He's tall.
But he always gave you trouble.
And he's
in
a
street
great
fights.
fighter.
Did you think you'd won this fight?
Yeah, I knew it was. He's crying now.
What did you say to him after the fight? He was pretty upset,
I
wasn't
said nothing. I'm happy I beat him. I'd rather you cry than I cry and left the ring. That was my attitude. I wouldn't have cried if I lost. I felt bad, but it takes so long to get another shot in about a year. We're getting older. You might not get another shot. You train so hard. You miss so many commercials, so many movies. Look how good I feel on your show, how I can brag and how I can talk. All my life I haven't made, because I go out a winner. If you go out a loser, it worries you. It worries you thinking that he won't get another shot. And he knew that I probably would never fight him again because that was the third time. That was his last chance. And so he'll grieve the rest of his life.
Was that your decision not to fight him again?
Yeah, fight him why? Beat him 3 times. I want to go out champion. I want to retire 3-time champion. There's the Norton fight again there. He's left jabs. But
could he hit hard?
Real hard.
Yes, you got a
I would say these fighters are, I'm not that much better than none of these fighters. I was just chosen by God to, I was blessed with His grace to win these fights, and I had a little finishing ability that most of them don't have. And I'm just glad to be able to get out on top.
In your sporting life, who would be your greatest influence?
In my sporting life, it'd be a boxer, and he was Sugar Ray Robinson.
Why?
Because he was a nice-looking man like myself, beautiful features. Just look at the cameras. Could you come close up, sir, with that camera? Stop by right there. No, Sugar, I was joking. And Sugar Ray Robinson, it's true, but I was joking. Sugar Ray Robinson was a nice-looking fellow and had his hair all waved, real pretty, and he would dance smooth. He would jab, he'd throw perfect punches, and he would dodge them pretty. Everything was perfect, slim, nice. Not fat like me, he was trim and nice, and just a beautiful boxer. He's ranked by everybody as pound for pound the greatest boxer ever lived. He was my influence. I liked the way he was dancing.
And did you have the chance to speak with him and talk with him?
Met him one time, but he didn't talk to me. I was the Olympic champion. I stopped at his bar in Harlem, in New York. He said, I'm Sugar Ray, I'm Cassius Clay, Olympic champ, next world champ. I'm soon be the greatest of all time. Won't you train me? He said, kid, I ain't got time. I just jumped in his car with 2 pretty girls and drove off. Wouldn't sign my autograph, and it really hurt me. That's why I sign autographs today and don't turn people down because I know how bad I felt.
And you never had the chance to catch up with Sugar Ray later on when you became champ?
Oh, I met him a couple of times. I see him now every so often, but I've outgrown him so, and I've become so much so-called better in boxing, but such a better record. He don't look like a giant no more.
Coming back to Norton, what's going to happen to him?
Norton's going to retire soon. He's in his middle 30s. He's too old. He'll never fight me. Nobody will fight me again.
Do you think he could ever beat Holmes? I mean, it was a very close fight there.
No, Holmes is too young. Holmes is 27, and he's about 35.
Yes.
And he'll go out a loser, like every fighter. Only 2 fighters retired undefeated and our retired champion was Gene Tooney and Rocky Marciano and Muhammad Ali, the first 3-time champion. So my record is so great.
Tony's last fight, in fact, his last defence was against the New Zealander.
Who?
Tony's last defence, Tom Heaney. He was a New Zealand-born heavyweight. Just talking a little bit about your possible successor, Larry Holmes, have you always felt that he's a comer? You walked out before, he was the main prelim in Manila, of course, and you walked out of your dressing room before your fight, and you stood there in your dressing gown and watched him box.
He's my protege. I trained Holmes. Holmes lives in Eastern Pennsylvania. My training camp is in Deer Lake. I taught Holmes how to dance. He would come to watch me train every day, and I would stop and I would show him. I would get in the ring with him and dance and stop on the dime. Go to your left, go to the right. I would train Holmes. I told him, if you watch Holmes, they say he's exactly like myself. Not quite, but he's imitation of me. I made Larry Holmes. He's a student of mine.
And do you think Larry Holmes will be the next champion, say ahead of Spinks or someone else who may get back in?
I think he'll beat Spinks. He'll beat everybody out there if he's in shape. And he dances. He keeps moving. Because when he's moving, nobody will hit him, and he'll hit them and build points and keep moving, just so you don't get tired. If I wasn't the dancing master I am, I wouldn't have beat Spinks the last fight. And what shocked the world, they know Spinks don't belong in the ring with Ali, our young Cassius Clay, but they figured my legs were gone, and the first fight, they thought I couldn't do it. I knew I could do it, but it would kill me to do it. I trained 7 months, chopping trees, eating raw meat, going to bed early, getting up early, jogging, running up hills, putting weights on my legs. I did everything, every trick in the book I know to get in shape. And I managed to dance 15 rounds, which almost killed me. I never want to do it again. I'll never do it again. But I managed to get off 15 rounds, and the reason I did it because I danced and moved. And if Holmes can dance and move through most of his fights, he'll win them.
Talking of Holmes, we've got film of him in his last fight, so perhaps we can have a look at that right now.
There he is dancing, jabbing and moving.
Evangelist, that's right.
See, there's the Ali style, up and down, pop, pop, hitting and backing up, dancing. See, that's dancing. That's what I taught him. Moving to the left and to the right, pop, jabbing. See, not quite as graceful as myself, but he's a little clumsy and awkward looking.
Can you see some of your style, though, Muhammad, in Larry Holmes?
That's it. He's doing exactly like I told him. See that right there moving? Heavyweights never did that to me. See, sticking and moving. Now, if he can keep that up here, he'll win the fight, all his fights. See, sticking and moving side to side, making his man run into the ropes. See, but he's just an imitation of himself. He's a little awkward, and he's not class. He's not dancing now. He's flat-footed. So he's an imitation of him. Plus, Holmes is not mentally. He's not a talker. He couldn't get on this show and talk like I'm talking. All that goes wrong with him. He don't look as good as I do. He's ugly compared to me. I'm handsome. If you look at him, he's an ugly fella. He's not pretty like me. So it's they'll try to imitate me, but it's gonna be a whole long time to get a man that's witty, he's intelligent, who can talk like I'm talking, and then look as good as pretty. It'll be a long, long time, a cold day in hell when you get a man like me.
So you think that man will be your successor, Larry Holmes?
I can't tell. He should.
Did you see the South African
I can't say for sure.
Did you see the South African who fought in America recently?
Now he's not looking too hot right now. That guy's kind of getting to him. I didn't see the South African.
Well, if he can hit like that, Muhammad, in his future opponents...
He might be in trouble. I didn't see that punch. At least I didn't do that to Evangelista. I fought the same fellow. I didn't knock him out, so he gets that credit. He knocked out a man I didn't knock out.
And you would pick him to beat Spinks?
I don't know. If he can dance and move like I did for 15, I think, yeah. If he gets tired or if he's too cocky, see, you can't get too cocky. If I got too cocky with Norton the first time, I lost. I got too cocky with Frazier first time, clowning, I lost. If he's not too cocky and trains right, he might win. But the publicity's getting, and people saying I'm ducking him and all that, he might really get to believe he's that great and go in the ring and misjudge the thing and get beat.
What's happened to Spinks, Muhammad? Is he likely to box again?
He's coming back, but he's having a hangover. You know, you get a little drunk and you get too high, and after you wake up next morning, the high's off of you, your head hurts. He was high on popularity, high on fame, riding big white limousine, Lincolns, wearing big white hats, diamond rings, world champion. All of a sudden, overnight, pressure hit him. He got drunk. Then he got beat. Now he's home, he's waking up, and the high is off of him now. He's having a hangover. If he can get out of the hangover and clear up, he'll come back and raise some more hell.
Your first fight with Spinks, perhaps we can have a look at that now, Muhammad, and...
You got that?
We've got that.
Even in losing that fight, I didn't lose that bad. I lost the first 5 rounds because of late on the ropes.
Did you think you had lost it when you were waiting for the decision?
Well, I knew it probably did, yeah. I wasn't sure.
It was a split decision, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I knew I wasn't right.
He's certainly very courageous. He never lets up, does he?
What about Spinks' style, Muhammad? How would you contrast him right here now to some of the other greats you've fought?
Well, he's younger than just about all the guys I fought. When I fought Patterson, he was older. When I fought Liston, he was older. They were great. Cleveland Williams, older. He throws more punches. He's very relentless. He keeps coming. Don't get tired.
He's certainly energetic. Did he hurt?
Well, a couple times. And he didn't really hurt that much.
And did you have much difficulty getting through to him?
Well, I'm hitting him. If you can watch a film here, you'll see me landing, but not hard enough, and I missed and judged the fight. I got tired.
Well, we do have film also of the second fight, which we're going to show, and that really was quite an easy fight, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't easy, but it looked easy because I was in top shape and I worked like a dog getting ready for it and made it look easy. I'm not doing too bad this first fight.
Did you think you might be able to tire him out a bit like you did with Foreman?
I thought it would, but he didn't. And I wasn't in the shape I should have been in. See, nobody knew Spinks. Remember, he was a nobody. He was underdog. Everybody was talking about what round would get him in. This got to me, this hurt me. Nobody knew Spinks. Who was Spinks? He barely got by a fighter name. I forgot this fight he just fought.
You got a draw with the fellow up in Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland dude. Barely got by him. So I said, this little young boy ain't gonna be no trouble. So I trained, but didn't really train too hard. And I figured I would lay on the ropes 5 rounds, he'd get tired. He didn't get tired. And I caught up with him. I won the next 6 rounds, but I lost the last 4. But so I misjudged the fight. Nobody knew Spinks. He surprised the press. He surprised not me, he surprised everybody. After I found out he was good, I went and trained like I should. Second time, it was a total different fight, wasn't it?
Well, because he was another Olympic champion. He'd won that.
Let me tell you something. That's right. He's an Olympic champion. But let me tell you something else. And you must realize he's 24, and I'm almost 37. Can you imagine?
Were you talking to him in this first fight? Were you trying to talk him out of it?
No. First fight, I was talking until about the 6th round. Then I got too tired to talk.
But then you won the next 5 rounds in this fight.
I ran out of gas.
Did you?
And he kicked my butt. So I was going to say something about my gas, didn't you?
Now, talking about conditioning, surely the best condition you must ever have got yourself into was Foreman. You look 20 years of age again there when you came through into the ring.
I could do it again, but I'm not. It'll kill me. People don't realize what we got to go through to train. We gotta stop eating the cake and the candy and ice cream. I love my sweets. We got to be in bed every night. We got to miss the parties. We got to forget all about the wife. That's terrible. We got to forget all about the pretty girls. We have to get up and run hard every day. We have to watch how we eat. And we just have to really get our minds together and suffer for at least 6 months.
And you're not going to do any of that again?
Man.
So, did you train harder, just what you've outlined for the second fight against Spinks?
Oh, I did everything. I chopped trees. I eat my meat almost raw with the blood in it. Give me the animal instinct. I fought the sugar, the sweets. What fight's this?
This is your second fight against Spinks. After you trained a lot harder, that you were just telling us about.
What did you think when George Benton walked out of his corner, Muhammad? Did you know that his trainer had walked out, or didn't you know till afterwards?
In conflict, I just held my hands up because I see him winning. You can imagine how that place has got 85,000 people in it, $6 million alive, 2 billion people watching, and I'm winning. Can you imagine how good I felt knowing I'm gonna be champion for the 15th round, knowing I got to fight 1 now. All I got to do is stay on my feet and not be knocked out. Knowing that I'm gonna be first 3-time champion. Can you imagine how I felt at that moment?
Not as good as you'd have felt in Zaire, surely.
You're right.
Muhammad, were you talking to him in this 15th round?
Yeah, little
what
things
did you think
like
going into this 3 minutes to go?
I said things that a fighter hate to think.
Like
I
what?
said, you've lost. You've got to knock me out this round. In the clinch, I said, you've got to knock me out. I said, you'll think about that limousine. Now I'm talking
right there.
Right now. Think about that money. Think about all the pretty girls. Think about all the autographs. Think about the movies, the commercials, the television show. You be straight for the rest of your life. Just think, you got to knock me out this round. You've lost. It's like a nightmare, right? You've lost. You lost the title. You lost the title. And this makes him more anxious. This makes him take shots at me. This makes him real aggressive and try to knock him out and he lose his head and then I can knock him out. You got a fella in the audience there laughing at everything I say here. Watch him. I'm talking to him. Look at me, I just hit you. I just hit you. So far, you're losing this round. That's what I'm saying. So far, you're losing this round. You're ugly. You're too ugly to represent the color folks. You're too ugly. You should be pretty. I'm pretty. You're ugly.
How can you think of all these things, Muhammad, when you're supposed to be fighting?
Well, I think about these things. I train, I talk in the gymnasium. You train like you fight. I do some training. Now I'm talking. Come on, sucker, you're losing. We ain't got much time left. You got to knock me out. I'm brainwashing him. You've got to knock me out. This is heartening. I'm still dancing. I'm telling him, I'm still dancing. Round 15, I'm 37 years old. You're a kid 24, and I'm still dancing. You letting this old man beat you. Look at me dance. I'm dancing. Look at me dance. Pop, pop, pop. Ooh,